Hey everybody, this is Gunnar again with Realty Growth Incorporated, and I just wanted to take a few moments to just share a little bit about my experience in the real estate business so far, and just some of the main things I've learned in the last few years. This is now in my third year in the business, and so yeah, I think these are some things that probably can be helpful for new people heading into the business, or maybe people that have been in the business for a few years and are looking to kind of refine their business. The first thing I would say is, like I said, I got into this business 3 years ago in, between 2019 and 2020, that winter heading into 2020. And got in touch with Nick Pompane and Bucky Beeman, who are owners here at Realty Growth. And one thing that I learned right away in the business was with commercial real estate, there's almost an unlimited amount of opportunities out there in terms of the types of businesses and the types of deals that you can try to seek out. What I mean by that is literally everything out there. When you look out into the world and you're driving downtown and looking at these buildings left and right, at these hotels, all of that is commercial real estate. And so what you find right away in the business is, there's so many opportunities to go out there and meet business owners and meet building owners, and just, there's a lot that you can focus your energy on. And for me, when I was new into the business, which a lot of people maybe can relate to listening, you realize that a lot of people around you, or most of the people around you, know more than you do. And even the business owners or the building owners, they're not even, realtors or in the commercial real estate business, but they've owned their buildings and they've owned property around town, and they've gone through it. There's a lot of people out there that know quite a bit about about real estate. I think one of the first things I realized, running around with Bucky at first was, I'd meet all these business owners and these property owners, and oftentimes I would find that, and I could just tell, I didn't know nearly as much as a lot of these just property owners around town. These are people that aren't in the, commercial real estate business as advisors, but these are people who have owned businesses and have owned property for years and years. And, when I'm first getting into this, I was 22 years old, just basically got my license within the last couple months, and am going around trying to meet building owners and, try to present myself as the guy to advise and help them with their real estate dealings, right? So that can be difficult at first because, like I said, these people have a lot of knowledge, and you being so young and early into the business, you might feel like you don't have much knowledge. But what I would say is, you don't want to ever pretend or put on a face like you know something that you don't. However, don't let that hurt your confidence. That you use those feelings and those interactions as an opportunity to grow, and just be curious and lean into these property owners and these people with knowledge around you, and be willing to learn, right? Be willing to admit, yeah, I actually, you're talking about this right now, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm hardly following you. This is something I don't know much about. Just be honest with where you're at, and don't say it in don't rip on yourself or feel down about yourself for not knowing. Just be honest about it and say, hey, talk about that a little bit more, because I'm kind of newer into this business, and I have all the energy in the world to learn, but I just don't know much about that. And I think what you'll find is that'll open a lot of doors for you, and there's a lot of people out there that are more than happy to share their knowledge and to help you learn and to help you become a better advisor. And what I think that you'll find is the value that you can provide to these property owners is not necessarily an encyclopedia of knowledge that they don't have. Because like I said, knowledge is something that these people a lot of times do have, right? But where you can provide the value is putting in the hustle, putting in the willingness and the effort to care and to learn and to find out information. That's something that'll make you valuable early on, even when your internal knowledge of the business is not very large, because you just haven't been in it for very long. It couldn't possibly, it can only be so big when you're starting out, right? So that's one thing of advice I would say is Don't be afraid to, admit if you don't know something, and show that you care and are curious to learn. I think that'll be really helpful for you. I guess another thing that I would say is, maybe as, if you're sitting more in my position where you've been in the business for a few years now, and, you still don't know everything, but now you know a thing or two, right? Now you've been around and done a number of deals and done, different kinds of deals. You start to realize what you like, what you don't like, what makes you feel good, what makes you not feel good with the business. And with that, I would say, pay attention to that. Pay attention to the projects that you're working on that don't bring you joy, or that just leave you feeling depleted, right? You don't want to continue, pigeonholing yourself into doing work that isn't gratifying to you, right? So I would say that's kind of a broad thing to say, but I think people can probably relate that to their situations, right? Don't keep pounding, there's nothing wrong with hustling and grinding around, but don't keep pounding pavement on something that isn't doing it for you and isn't bringing you joy, and you're not getting gratification, right? So, as you do, and I think that's the two-part thing, is, like I said, when you're first into the business, you're kind of going and doing everything and learning, and I think you should. I think that's one thing I can maybe state more clearly about my first point, is when you're new, I think it's okay to go do all kinds of different projects and go meet all kinds of different people. And just because you don't know, you can't possibly know what your niche is or where you're going to fit into the market yet. But like I said, as you've done it for a few years and done deals and seen different transactions, you'll start to know what you enjoy. And, for me, one thing I've found a lot of passionate, and for me, one thing that I've found brings me a lot of joy and that I'm very passionate about is working with business owners. So I know that's very general, but I think the difference for me in my head there is, I most times prefer working with a tenant or a buyer than a building owner and a landlord. And that's nothing against, landlords. And there's certainly going to be people wanting to represent you as a landlord and people out there. But I think what I've found brings me the most joy is helping small businesses that are out there in the world. And, whether you're a new business owner who maybe you've been working out of your garage or your house and you have a legitimate business and you just don't know quite how to take that next step. Or if you've got a good business and maybe you've been renting some space for a little bit and you're ready to kind of take that next level and maybe purchase or at least, maybe at a second location, right? I get a lot of gratification out of seeing these business owners turn their business into something where they're thriving. Like I said, multiple locations. The definition of success is different for every business, but whatever your goals are as a business owner, I think I get a lot of joy, helping you get there with my expertise in the real estate world, right? So, I think that's something that, as for agents out there, you kind of find what you like. There's some people who, all their business is working with hotel owners, right? Or multifamily apartment owners and manage, you kind of figure out what group you want to serve and where you fit in. And that's just kind of what it's been for me so far is like I said, business owners. I'm working mostly with buyers and tenants. Now that's not to say I don't have some good landlord relationships, and I don't want to put out any video, saying that I don't want to help you if you own property. Absolutely I do. But I think what you'll see and the reason I would be maybe helpful for a landlord is, I look at it from the perspective of these businesses, and I want to put deals together that work for everybody, right? So I guess kind of to recap a little bit, I mean, when you're new in the business, put yourself out there, right? Go, especially I'm specifically talking about commercial real estate, but this can apply to, whatever business you choose to be in. But there's an almost endless amount of opportunities out there, right? And a lot of it just involves getting up, setting up some appointments, and going and meeting people, right? I think that's extremely important, especially right away in the business, because you don't know what your niche is yet. You don't know exactly where you're going to fit in. So I think it's good to kind of cast a broad net and figure out what you like and what you don't like. because you never know what doors are going to open up. So I think that that's huge for new agents. And then I'd say, once you've been in the business for a few years, that's when you can really start refining and figuring out, like I said, what your niche is and what you really like in the business, right? So for my example, I was saying for me is I've ended up just I've done a lot of deals where I represent small businesses trying to find space in town, right? So a lot of new business owners starting out, that brings me a lot of joy. Now I've worked with, landlords with large spaces and, worked with all kinds of different sizes of businesses, but I do get a lot of joy helping the small businesses out. For some people that might be, there's a ton of people that are into hotels or multifamily apartments, right? Or, when I first was getting into real estate or was reading about it in college, that was one of the main things that I was drawn to was multifamily. I started reading a few books, and there's a lot of people who are strictly into multifamily and they just want to manage multifamily and they just want to buy and build apartments, and that's all they ever do. They don't really do much else. That's great. If that's what you love, go into that, narrow yourself into that. Maybe you're somebody who, wants to own warehouses and shop space and kind of, has that, like I said, it could be anything. Whatever your niche is, whatever you find the types of deals that you enjoy doing and the types of people that you enjoy being around, don't be afraid to narrow that down and focus yourself as you get a little bit more established, because, you don't want to, if you just say yes to everything, then you're going to stress yourself out and you're going to burn yourself out, and you're going to find that you're getting up and looking at your calendar and you're like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Right. So I think it's important to, don't bite off more than you can chew. After you have the privilege of being in the business for a few years, refine yourself, focus yourself on, and focus your time and energy on the projects that you really are passionate about. So yeah, I think that's just a couple quick tips. I think we'll maybe do this again, and who knows what else I think of, but I think those are two, for the new person, and then maybe the intermediate person, I guess you could say, like myself, who've been in the business for a few years, still not a 10, 15 year vet, but now I know, I know a thing or two about what I like and don't like. Be honest with yourself about that and focus your time on those things. So to close out here, I think I would put out a request. I know we have a lot of people listening of all kinds of different, levels of knowledge and wealths of knowledge, whether you are new into the business or been in the business for a long time. I would just say, please leave comments and interact with us. What do you think about, would you agree when you're new into the business, it's good to kind of go see all kinds of different things and put yourself in front of different opportunities? I guess, what do you guys think about that? Or what do you think about, are you somebody who agrees with me that it's good to get a niche and kind of focus as you go on? Or there may be people out there that, think that chasing every opportunity that comes around is the way to really lead to success, right? Maybe there's differing opinions on that. So please share. Let me know if that relates to you guys. Or if you guys have any tips, maybe for some of these newer people or people that have kind of been in the business for a few years. Please engage with us, comment, follow us on social media. You can follow me on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Gunnar Grimsrud, Gunnar Grimsrud. Please come interact. And, if you have ideas for what could be good content for us to put out in the future, whether it be videos or podcasts or blogs, whatever you think would be helpful and would bring value to you that you would enjoy listening to, please let us know. We do care, and that's where we want to focus our attention, is bringing value to you folks out there. So again, thanks for listening. Again, Gunnar with Realty Growth, and have a great rest of your day.